Hello and welcome to the second faculty session of the Presidential Search Listening Tour on behalf of Raymond Burse and our faculty representatives on the search committee, myself, David Schultz, Christopher Jones, and Aaron Rollins, as well as many of the other search committee members who are present in the room. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to chat with us about the president's search. This is an opportunity to ask questions and share with us what you want to see in the next leader of our university. The search committee will use feedback from all of these sessions to create a leadership statement, job description for the presidency and to inform decisions made during the search process. If you are in person and would like to speak, simply raise your hand and we'll ask you to go to one of the microphones in the room, or we will pass you a microphone if needed. If you are on Teams, please use the raise hand function, and when Jake calls on you, please unmute yourself, and if you choose, open up your video as well so that we can see you and ask your question. We will alternate between the in-person and online comments and questions, and to ensure as much participation as possible, we will limit discussions to about 5 to 7 minutes per topic. I also want to, at this point, also acknowledge the search firm representatives we have from Whitkeefer, John Thornburg and Ryan Crawford. So if at any point you have specific questions for the search firm, we can also direct them to either John or Ryan. So we'll start our session. I want to just open up before we go to our prompt questions. If there are any general comments or questions anyone would like to start our discussion with. So we'll first start with that opportunity for you. Okay, so we're not seeing any, so we'll move to our prompt questions. Aaron.
Sure. So our first question is, we would like to know what is distinctive about the University of Louisville, history, the mission, and the culture of the University of Louisville. What is distinctive about the history, the mission, and the culture of the University of Louisville?
I think we have a volunteer. And when you do ask your question, if you'd please identify yourself and what department or what area of the university are you coming from?
My name is Mary Dilletter, and I am the Associate Dean of Academic Affairs and Unit Effectiveness in the School of Nursing. I am a U of L graduate from 1978 in the Associate Degree Program of Nursing that they had at the time. In 1980, I left Louisville in 1982 and returned in 2019. So I have a long history with U of L, but not consistently being in Louisville. Your question is, what is distinctive about the culture, history, and the third mission of the university? We have always been an urban university. We have some benefits of that in that we are, and as a health sciences center, we are very connected to the center of health sciences in the city. We are here in an area where we can serve the population that's very much in need, from the School of Nursing, the School of Dentistry, and the School of Medicine, and the School of Public Health. The disadvantages of being in our health sciences center are that we are physically and often, the other word I need, there's a forgetfulness that we exist on the health sciences center. We have to travel to Belknap campus for most of our meetings, which takes anywhere from 15 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on where you park and how fast you can get in and out of your garage. We have the benefit of having the opportunity to, as faculty and staff, to merge with other faculty and staff from many departments. And as a School of Nursing, we are very highly engaged in community service. Almost every one of our undergraduate courses are community engagement or community-based learning courses. So it's excellent opportunities for our students and an excellent opportunity, again, for us to serve the community. Those fit well with the missions of the university and many of the high priorities of the university. I'll stop there and let someone else take a turn. And thank you for being here on Health Sciences Campus.
Anyone online?
Yes. Rachel?
Hi, sorry. I'm Rachel Howard. I am in the university libraries, and I've been at U of L for 15 years. And I think that something that's distinctive about the culture here is kind of we're eternally under-resourced, but we're also incredibly ambitious. So it's a source of a lot of stress for many of us who are constantly asked to do more with less. We're trying to keep up with a lot of other institutions who have a lot more resources. But at the same time, it's also a source of pride. Like, look what we did, despite the fact that we have 1/3 of your staffing and 1/2 of your budget. So I think that that's very distinctive about our culture, for better and for worse.
Thank you. Anyone else on Teams? You're also more than welcome to use the chat function, and we'll read that question, comment, or otherwise out loud.
All right, we'll move on to our next question. So this is, when thinking about the next president of this university, what are your top 4 to 6 kind of academic, strategic, operational, or financial priorities that this person should look into? And it can be, things that we think of in terms of bolstering our, financial resolve that we have at the institution, and some of the other things that we have to deal with just to operationalize how we can work together more coherently, as you heard the last speaker, talk about, and how we can be better resourced and not under-resourced on the School of Medicine side, School of Nursing, and as well as the academic side as well. So again, top 4 to 6 academic, strategic, operational, and financial priorities this person should come in with, especially within the first couple of years of them being here.
So I'll share with you all that most of you all are online. So please feel free to engage. You can speak or type in the chat box and we'll read it out loud.
Carl, go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Carl Mertz. I'm a professor in the Department of Management and Entrepreneurship. And I mean, this one isn't quite, I wish I had better suggestions or ideas for the sourcing and the resource issue. But I think one of the things that I would point out that I think is important for people on campus, as well as parents who send their kids to us and trust us with them, is to be really clear about safety policies on campus. And one thing that's, I mean, this is a, I guess you would call it a specific issue but my niece attends Louisville, and one thing that has come up in a couple of different fora is that there doesn't seem to be a clear. At least she doesn't understand whether she can do something like carry pepper spray on campus. There's been, I know there was a petition about this that was going around that she signed, and just never really heard about it. And, right now I defy anyone to tell me whether it's okay to carry pepper spray on campus or whether it violates the student code of conduct. So I think it behooves the next leader to be really clear about what we allow, what we don't allow, and what the university is doing to shield as much as possible the students from some of the dangerous areas that aren't that terribly far away from campus. And in particular, like my wife didn't know whether she could get my niece Ellie pepper spray or not to carry. She lives over, west of 4th Street, and thought about that. So I know that sounds like a specific issue, but I think the general issue is making everything as clear, transparent, and uh, you know, and as effective as possible when it comes to safety, because I think there are folks that, especially folks from out of town, that they wonder whether it's safe to send their kids to Louisville, and we want to say the answer is yes.
Thank you, Carl. We'll be sure to share that with our interim president and provost to address that sooner, but that is something we will take note of.
And I wouldn't have brought it up, gentlemen. I wouldn't have brought it up if I hadn't written a couple of letters to the general counsel myself and signed and I just never heard back. And so to me, I think the real thing would be transparency and responsiveness. I would have been okay with, well, we're not going to make pepper spray legal, or it already is legal on campus. What are you talking about? But I got no responses to 2 emails I had sent.
Apologies for that, Carl. We'll make sure you get an answer.
Thank you.
I'm not sure who else is in the room, so maybe I'm the only faculty member here.
Yes.
I have several financial and academic priorities that I think are critical. We have currently 6 out of 11 units that have either interim deans who have announced retirement, or deans who have announced resignation. So the new president and provost really need to focus on recruiting deans with a package, both financial and a work plan, a budget model for their units that will keep deans here and keep stability across the units. We have a new budget model. I'm not going to complain about the model, but we were definitely a unit that was harmed by the model. We started out way below every other unit in the university. And I have heard repeatedly that everyone is held harmless, but we were not. We started off very low, and we are scraping to come back. The current model is difficult. It's not supporting the unit needs. It's not allowing us to be competitive. There is a great push for us to hire part-time people instead of full-time people because they are so much cheaper than full-time faculty who have reasonable salaries and benefits. This doesn't provide consistency in the unit in a program like nursing or medicine or dentistry that are highly regulated by state boards and accrediting bodies. It creates enormous problems for me to have a constant influx and outgoing of part-time people who are half committed. And we're paying a salary that, quite honestly, especially during the last 2 years, is far below the competitive market of a nurse to go work on a unit. So why would they come work for me for a fourth to a half the cost that the salary that they can make in another place? We just need to really focus on a competitive market for faculty and staff. We have staff that are currently not in the job classifications that they deserve, and we've been sitting on what's the name of it? The staff compensation analysis for 3 to 4 years, right? I'm not sure exactly how long, but quite a long time. We cannot reclassify or ask for anything for our staff right now, and that's highly dissatisfying to staff who are in those positions. In our own unit, we have cut staff and faculty, which means everyone has to do more, and there's absolutely no compensation for doing that. So I think what the new president needs to focus on is how to bring us into a financial stability that really allows us to meet the strategic plan, to be in a good place to work, to be in a good place to learn, to have a good place to connect or invest. We really need unit by unit equity so that units can function. Some time ago, it was announced that engineering was the top priority in this university academically. That didn't really make other units feel like anyone cared about them. And so we need to have a real visibility that every unit here is important. And I'm all about revenue generation and not spending money on programs or anything that really costs us a lot of money and doesn't bring goodwill to the university or to the people we serve. But for the units that are working extremely hard, we need the resources to do that. We have a lot of policies in the university that are decentralized. Just for example, the vacation or the leave policy is unit by unit. So one unit faculty may have 30 days a year, another unit faculty may have 20 days a year. So those kinds of policies across the university really need to be evaluated and centralized to look at how faculty can feel collaborative without being penalized because of their disciplinary choice. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else online? Last chance to, well, not last chance, but for right now, last chance to discuss your top priorities for our next leader. All right. Our next question is, we'd like to know what career experiences and/or academic/leadership competencies will best equip your next president to accomplish that agenda. What career experiences and academic/leadership competencies will best equip your next president to accomplish that agenda? Again, I'll share with you all that most of you all are online, so please feel free to comment.
Or we'll just call on Mary again.
We'll just let Larry hold the mic.
Bring the mic.
That's fine with me. That's fine. So while we're waiting, I'll share with you all that we've met with the faculty at the Belknap campus. We've met with student leaders. We've met with alum last night. And each group is sharing their own interest in our next leader. Now, this is your opportunity to share with the search team, with the board of directors.
So if I can give maybe a little prompt that will make you think about this. Are we looking for somebody who is an established provost and is moving up to a president? Are we looking for somebody who's a president in transitioning to a larger university? Are we looking outside of academics? Are we looking at law? Are we looking at medicine as a background for our next president? What kind of a background are we looking for?
Please feel free. Please feel free to show your.
I really don't mean to hog the session, but I don't want you to go away with nothing. So So here I am. I do think it is critical that we have a president who understands the wide variation in academics from the humanities to the sciences and everything in between. I think that's critical. I think we need a president. I don't have a particular affinity for someone who has been a provost or not, or who has been a president or not. But it does need to be someone who understands, obviously extremely large budgets, how to engage in bringing research dollars to a university that do help support academics, someone that can solicit and cultivate good relationships with donors, someone who can cultivate a really positive image in the city and the Commonwealth. I lived in Lexington for most of my time outside of Louisville, and there's not an acceptance of U of L in Lexington. I will say that I wore red to Rupp Arena more than once. There. So we do need someone that has a very broad view and the background to support that in many ways.
Rachel has a comment, and that would be, I would also prefer that we look for someone with experience in an academic institution. Carl also stated that based on the comments so far, I would suggest an experienced and successful fundraiser. This will help the eternal underfunding issue.
All right, any other comments? All right, we will move on to the next question. It's very similar in theme to the last question, to say that, what interpersonal skills and personal qualities will best equip the next president to work effectively within our culture. We all know that every university has its own culture. Those of us who've kind of gone through medicine and what have you, if you didn't stay at one place and you went to the different training spots, you could tell it was very different at each of the different schools that you went to. At least I could. And so every university's culture is a little bit different, and you have to adapt to that, when you come into that culture. So what types of things would you be looking for in terms of interpersonal skills for our next president coming in that would fit into the Louisville culture?
So I can't see everybody online from here, but I do recognize a couple people, so I'm going to start picking up on people like maybe Chen or Eric Rushka. Do you have any comments on personal attributes that we would look for?
We also have online Sherry Brown, Timothy Daughtry, Chris Davis, and Siobhan Smith-Jones. Siobhan has a comment. She states, I would appreciate someone who is friendly, transparent, and communicates well. I would like someone who values the complexities and is willing to learn the nuances of the University of Louisville.
All right, so our last prepared question. We understand that part of this interview is they're selling themselves to us and we're selling ourselves to them, to our next president. So my question is, what are the selling points that will compel the most attractive candidate to explore this opportunity? What are the selling points that will compel the most attractive candidate to explore this opportunity? Why Louisville? Why the University of Louisville? What's special about us?
Carl has an answer, and that would be experience with a wide variety of academic disciplines and the wide variety of political opinions. And now he's got to go, but thank you for the opportunity.
I have one, I can say one more thing, which is on, the question you asked, which is, I've been at a number of places and there are very few cities of the size of Louisville where the university has the kind of influence and visibility. I defy anyone to say another one in the country that's, over 1 million people in the area, and Louisville casts a really big shadow. And that can be attractive to some people, as opposed to, if you go to Boston, you can be at a great university and just be one of a dozen voices in town.
Thank you, Carl. Someone else?
I think the point that Rachel made early in the conversation is important, that despite the tremendous financial problems and upheaval that the university has been through over the last several years, there's a tremendous amount of resilience of the faculty and staff. As a parent of an undergrad and a medical school graduate from U of L, I would say that the students are fairly untouched by what has gone on, and they had excellent educational experiences. And they have been successful because of their educational experiences here. But I do think that it is a struggle for faculty and staff to keep that up. But we have thus far been extremely resilient, which should be a selling point to an incoming candidate. The opportunities, again, for community engagement, one of our selling points, the opportunities to enhance the relationships in the city with both the populace at large as well as donors and corporations, even other academic institutions. We have some contracts, or I have at least one now with another academic institution to bring students here. So I think those are our big selling points for a new president.
Thank you.
Siobhan commented that she totally agrees with all those points.
Right, not seeing any more feedback or comments. Before we close, I want to again give an opportunity if there's any other comments or questions any of you would like to present to the search committee or to the search firm. Also, Chris or Aaron, if you have any other comments you'd like to add at the end here.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for everyone who did participate today. This is good. There will be more of these listening tours. This is not the end. I think we have some, this is our time to really give input. And it's important for us to give this input. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to gather folks in my department and in my arena so that they can come and give input, because, it's always easy to complain. But when it's time for us to step up and actually, talk about things, we don't show up. And so it's going to be really important for us to show up so that we can say what we want. and the next president at the University of Louisville. So with that, I'll be quiet so they don't kick me out. But do you have something?
I have a question. Each unit was asked to elect a liaison to the search committee, which seemed like another layer, but seeing the empty room, maybe that's a great thing. So I'm wondering, as I am actually the elected liaison, so you will hear from me again. Sorry. What is the plan for that process?
I can answer that, or right. So I helped to get that organized, and we are not yet completely filled with all 13 elected members. I believe that by the end of this week, we will. We had initially planned for one of the listening sessions to be specific to that group, but because it's not formed, we were not able to do that this week. But next week, Jake is going to reach out once that committee is established. It will probably have to be only virtual at that point, but we'll have that meeting with that committee. The committee is going to serve as a consulting group with the search committee. So the search committee will go and consult with that group, and I think Raymond would probably be the one who would talk to that committee about what that entails. Raymond is our chair of the search committee.
Thank you. I think that might help because you know, as a familiar face to the unit, we will be able to elicit input and certainly push people to provide it. Thank you.
I have also posted in the chat 2 websites. The first one is our presidential search website, louisville.edu/presidential-search. That has all the information regarding the search, the committee, the sessions, etc. And then I've also posted and you will find this on the presidential search website, a link to the online form where we have all 5 of these questions posted, and you can answer them fully and completely through that form, and that is uofl.me/PSC-feedback. That's PSC as in Presidential Search Committee, PSC-feedback.
All right, I'm not seeing any other comments or questions, so that will conclude our listening tour session on behalf of the search committee. Thank you for all your thoughtful discussion today. If you have any additional feedback, please do look at the links that Jake has posted in the chat, and you can follow those to the online forms. Thank you and enjoy your evening tonight.